The following video is about a family and the terrifying pace at which the strange activity inside their home has been escalating, turning what was once a normal living space into somewhere they no longer feel safe being alone. It all began one afternoon when the wife was home alone. Her husband had already left for work, and she had fallen asleep on a chair in the living room. She suddenly woke up coughing violently, her throat burning, and as she caught her breath, she noticed a smell filling the air. Thick, sour, and unmistakable. The smell of rotten eggs. At first, she assumed it was something ordinary, maybe spoiled food, a gas leak, or something left in the trash. She searched the kitchen, the drains, the trash bins. She cleaned thoroughly, top to bottom, but nothing explained it. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. Weeks passed and the smell returned, but this time it would appear without warning, linger for only a few minutes, then disappear again. No source and no explanation. But soon, the smell became the least of their fears. They would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of loud, agonizing screams echoing through the house, screams that didn't belong to either of them. Religious crosses they had hung on their walls would slowly rotate and sometimes be found upside down by Mourning, something many believe is a deliberate sign of mockery or defiance towards symbols of protection. Other nights, someone would knock on the front door, slow and deliberate, but when they opened it, no one was there. And sometimes, multiple doors would slam violently at the same time, as if something unseen was moving freely through every room, like this.
Hello? 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 Oh, shit! Hey!
After that night, they were shaken enough to temporarily leave the house. They stayed away, trying to convince themselves it could be explained. But deep down, they knew something had changed. During that time away, the husband came to a disturbing realization. He remembered a visit he had made months earlier to an abandoned Catholic church, a place locals avoided. He recalled feeling uneasy while inside, hearing faint noises behind him, and feeling as if he wasn't alone. At the time, he dismissed it as imagination, but now, seeing what was happening in his home, he began to wonder if something had followed him back. But the next video he shared complicated that theory even further. For several nights, he began hearing faint music somewhere inside the house. After searching room after room, tearing the house apart trying to find the source, he finally discovered where it was coming from. Watch.
I don't know if it's exactly or this specific thing, but after playing with it, I did notice it, that it was this doll. So that doll that I have here on my 666 chair, right, has been making some weird sound. Now, what kind of sounds or who could have been provoking the doll, right? But if you listen to this, on the back of this doll, there's actually a latch, which is right there. So that latch there, if you spin it, it will make some sound. I will show you. So this doll here, if you take the outside rank right here, twist it, and I won't twist it too much, but look. And that is the same exact sound I was hearing. Now y'all, let me tell you something. I'm not sure what's activating this or what's causing it to sing, but tonight I will let this GoPro go live for the rest of the night. See what is provoking this to sing. The thing is that when I come out of my room right there, this thing stops singing.
The doll was the kind that only plays music when its latch is manually turned, so this raised a far more disturbing possibility. Some believe objects, especially dolls, can act as vessels. Unlike other objects, dolls resemble human forms, giving entities something easier to attach to, something easier to manipulate, but others believe something even darker may already be inside the house itself, something using the doll not as a home, but as a tool. So he set up cameras because he wanted proof. Watch. Some viewers believe the doll itself may now be the focal point, acting as a host for whatever entered the home. Others believe the activity started long before the doll, and whatever is in the house is simply using it to make its presence known in a way the family cannot ignore. And the fact that crosses are turning upside down only deepens the fear, because in many documented cases, entities believed to be malevolent will deliberately target religious symbols as a way of asserting dominance over the space and those living inside it. But until more footage is shared, this terrifying case remains unsolved. This next video was recorded by Nate, a man whose home has become the center of a long and deeply unsettling series of events that have only grown more aggressive over time. For months, Nate has documented objects moving on their own, utensils being thrown without warning, and disembodied whispers that seem to come from nowhere. His kitchen, in particular, has become the focal point of the activity, a place where things don't simply fall. They are thrown, as if something unseen is deliberately trying to make its presence known. Over time, viewers who have followed his story have watched the escalation. It began with small disturbances, soft taps, subtle movements, things easily dismissed. But soon, knives and scissors were thrown across the room, not dropped, not knocked over, but launched with force. The kind of force that suggests intention. One morning, his dog began acting restless, pacing, staring toward the kitchen, reacting to something Nate couldn't see. Moments later, a loud bang shattered the silence, and for someone who hadn't known peace in his home for months, his reaction wasn't finding a logical explanation, it was investigating.
Alright, so I just heard something. I don't know where it was coming from, either the basement or the kitchen. I'm not sure where, but it sounded like a bang or something. The dog is reacting to it, so not sure what that was. Is that the wall? I don't know what that was. What the fuck? Okay, those were there. Door's locked.
From the right side of the kitchen, something suddenly flies through the air. You can see the metal object clearly, reflecting light as it travels across the kitchen before crashing violently into the sink. What makes this moment especially disturbing is the fact that this isn't the first time. So, is whatever that's in the house only trying to scare him, or is it testing how far it can go? This time, it wasn't just the movement that unsettled viewers, it was the sound. Some people who turned their volume all the way up toward the end of the clip claim they heard a faint whisper, a single word, "Daddy." And then, on another Sunday morning, something even more disturbing was captured. Watch.
When you're sitting on a Sunday morning, having a cup of coffee, and you see all I can describe as a dark smoke or mist or cloud or something come up the basement stairs and move into the kitchen. Back door is locked. both locks. It came up from the basement. Like right down there. Hello?
This time, whispers can be heard, but most people couldn't make out the exact words. Some listeners claim the first whisper says, "Why don't you like me?" followed later by, "Can't you hear me?" If true, those words change everything. And once again, it happens in the kitchen. This has led some viewers to speculate that whatever is present may be tied specifically to that location. Some believe it could be the spirit of someone connected to the house's past, possibly someone who once lived there, someone who felt ignored, abandoned, or unseen. Others believe it could be something far darker, something pretending to sound vulnerable in order to gain sympathy and attention. But I'll leave you to be the judge. Now, in this next clip, a man decides to record the terrifying things he experiences anytime he stays late at work alone. What makes his situation especially unsettling is the pattern he has noticed over time. According to him, the activity never happens during the day when the office is full, never when people are moving around or making noise. It only begins when everyone has left, when the building becomes quiet, empty, and still. Some nights he heard faint tapping sounds coming from inside the office itself, like fingers lightly drumming on wood, and over time he started to feel watched.
Kalau masuk, nggak usah main-main pintu. Tutup lagi nyamuknya. Ngapain? Ya Allah, makin iseng aja lah. Hei. Astagfirullahaladzim. Udah duduk yang bagus. Hey.
The door slowly creaks open on its own, then something even more disturbing appears. A face. Moments like this are especially disturbing because they suggest that whatever is causing this isn't somewhere far away, it's right there, inside the room, moving within his space. The following clip was captured by a lady's security camera. One morning, while going through her movement notifications from the night before, she noticed an alert triggered at a strange hour, a time when she was certain everyone in the house was asleep and nothing should have been moving. Curious, she opened the footage, and what she saw immediately gave her chills. Watch. A shadow slowly pops out by the door and doesn't fully reveal itself. It peeks carefully, like something was checking if the area was clear before stepping out. What makes this especially disturbing is the fact that she doesn't have any pets, nothing that could have created a shadow of that size or shape, and no one else had access to the house that night. Viewers later asked for more context, so she shared the full video. Watch. The first thing that came to some people's minds was a rat, but isn't it too big to be a rat? I'd leave you to be the judge on this one. This next video was sent in by a lady's cousin who had recently installed a motion detecting security camera in her basement, mainly as a precaution, never expecting it would capture something that would leave her questioning what might be inside her home when she isn't there. According to her, no one was at home at the time, nothing that should have triggered the alert. So when she received a motion notification coming from the basement, a place no one had entered that entire day, she immediately felt uneasy. Still, she opened the footage. Have a look. She believes the white object might be a dryer sheet, especially since the washer and dryer are positioned to the left of the frame. But what makes this difficult to explain is the fact that there is no draft down there. The basement windows are made of sealed glass cubes that cannot be opened, meaning there is no clear airflow that could push something that deliberately across the floor. But what truly terrified her wasn't just the movement, it was the sound. If you listen closely, faint footsteps can be heard, slow and heavy, followed by a low growling or rumbling noise, something deep, something unnatural, something that doesn't sound like it belongs in an empty basement. And again, there was nobody home at the time. Some believe entities prefer lower levels of homes because they are quieter, more isolated, easier to occupy without being disturbed. Others believe growling sounds are especially concerning, often linked in paranormal reports to entities that are not passive, not harmless, but aware, territorial, and capable of interacting with their environment. So now, if no one was home, what exactly triggered the camera? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Blackford County Jail, a location widely regarded as one of the most feared and talked about haunted buildings in the state of Indiana. This time, Ian decides to explore one of the most avoided parts of the building, the attic. According to local rumors and previous investigators, this attic is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl, an entity said to appear unexpectedly and interact with objects left behind. So Ian brings along a few trigger objects, including a stuffed animal, hoping to encourage communication. Watch.
Here, that was hung from this. Whoa. Dude, I think I just saw an orb fly by that thing. If that was you, could you do that again? Were you hung here? Were you executed here? Dude. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, that thing is swaying back and forth. I can't believe that. Dude, it's literally just started swaying back and forth. Dude, now it's slowing down. It stopped. Dude.
As he scans the attic, something unusual begins to happen. Near an old noose hanging from the ceiling, a faint orb appears, hovering close to it. At first it seems subtle, almost easy to miss, but then the noose itself begins to swing. Many paranormal investigators believe objects like nooses can carry heavy emotional residue, especially in places where suffering or death may have occurred, making them potential focal points for spiritual energy. But what happens next is even harder to explain. Watch.
I can't stay up here. I can't. I can barely see. My freaking flashlight's dying too. Alright. I've had enough. I'm sorry, little girl. Thank you.
From somewhere in the darkness, the stuffed animal he placed earlier is suddenly thrown to the floor. Unfortunately, he didn't capture the exact moment, but moments later, Ian captures something even more disturbing. Listen carefully. A faint giggle echoes from the darkness, and it sounds like a little girl giggling. It's often warned that childlike laughter in haunted locations may not always be what it seems, as some believe certain entities imitate children to appear harmless and lower a person's guard. Until more investigations reveal the truth, what Ian captured inside that attic remains one of the most chilling and unexplained moments inside the Blackford County Jail. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following video, a guy is making a quick video to show his sister's fiance just how creepy the crematorium where he works can get after hours. What starts as a casual walkthrough quickly turns into something far more disturbing. Watch this.
Lights, they turn off automatically at a certain hour. And I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna walk you through I have a friend that works that he would see and hear things coming from these furnaces when they're burning the bodies. So when I'm walking through here, they usually put the urns out to send to the families. So when I'm walking here at night, I walk right by these urns that they put on these tables here. And then I come down, freaking out. Crazy.
Now, crematoriums already carry a heavy atmosphere. The energy there is said to linger, trapped between the living and the dead. Some even believe places like this can absorb emotions, grief, pain, fear, and release them in strange ways. Others think the constant contact with the deceased could make it easier for spirits to attach themselves to the living, especially workers who spend long nights alone. Now, back to the guy in this video. He's convinced there's a ghost haunting this crematorium, and until someone gives him a better explanation for what he saw, he's not budging from that theory. So what do you think? Paranormal encounter, or something else? You decide. Now, this next video was captured at around 3:15 in the morning, and after what happened, there was no way the guy could go back to sleep. Watch this.
Estaba por entrar a mi casa. Son 3:15 de la mañana. Y la luz empieza a ser así, no sé. Sinceramente siento que hay alguien acá. No sé por qué lo presiento. Si te querés mostrar, mostrate ahora. Hay alguien sentado ahí. Hay alguien sentado. Mostrate.
Only people who've woken up to the sound of something unexplainable can truly relate to the kind of terror this brings. That feeling of being watched, of knowing you're not alone. And for this guy, it's not a one-time event. Strange things keep happening in his home, often at the same exact hour, like something's deliberately choosing that time to make itself known. But many who followed his story were relieved to find out it wasn't the teddy this time. The same teddy that's moved on its own in several of his earlier videos. But that only made people wonder, what if it was never the teddy? What if whatever's in his home simply uses different objects to get his attention? Or worse, to toy with him? Some say he's dealing with a spirit that feeds off fear, while others think something darker might be attached to the house itself. Until he shares another update, what's really tormenting him remains a mystery. In the following clip, a woman named Jess shares a chilling story, one that's been haunting her for over a decade. Jess lost a close friend named Derek 13 years ago, and ever since then, he's never really left. No matter where she moves, strange things follow. Lights flickering, footsteps in empty rooms, objects shifting on their own. And in her new home, one she moved into just a few months ago, it seems Derek has somehow found her again. Watch this.
Mary, what? He's doing it again. He's doing it again. Mary, he's doing it again. Derek! Hey, Derek! I know you're dude. Derek! Derek! I'm talking to you, man. Stop f***ing me, dude. Calm down, Jessica. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. It's just Derek. It's just Derek. Hey, Derek. Hey, Derek. What you doing, buddy? I miss you. Derek. What are you doing, buddy? You know I love you. You know I love you. Hey, Derek. Come on, you dumb... What the f...
Now, a lot of people believe Jess might be unknowingly holding on to something that once belonged to Derek, something personal that's keeping his spirit tethered to her. Others think Derek could be trying to communicate, perhaps trying to deliver a message she's missed for over 13 years, something that, once understood, might finally allow him to move on. But not everyone agrees. Some say she's making a dangerous mistake, that what she's experiencing isn't Derek at all, but something pretending to be him, using her grief to gain her trust. A few even suggested she check her attic, where energies tend to gather in old houses, and when she finally did, this is what she found.
Y'all wanted me to come up to the attic, okay? This is the wall that y'all saw some shit on. And these are the stairs. Like, my husband has all his clothes, of course. But if you look up there, there's no windows. I'm not going all the way up there because it scares the shit out of me. There's no windows. There's a sofa, some mirrors, a chair, his clothes, but there's no windows up here, okay? There's nothing up here that would have done anything. See? No window. No window. No windows. Nothing. Absolutely nothing up here. Other than like his toolboxes and a chair. I'm not going up here because it's too scary for me. But there are some mirrors, which is weird for an attic. A fan. See, there's no windows. This is my attic. There's nothing up here that could have done that shit. Alright, I'm getting the out of here because it feels weird.
So, is Jess truly being visited by the spirit of her old friend? Or something else wearing his face to keep her believing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Now, in this next clip, we're looking at footage captured inside a daycare in East Tennessee, one that used to be an old church before it was converted. Watch this.
The video I'm about to show you is very disturbing. I'm just going to let it play for you, and then I'll give you the background.
See? Lights go off. Now watch. You're going to see. What you just saw was security footage that was sent to me by a woman who worked at a daycare in East Tennessee, Appalachia region. This daycare is actually a very old church that was turned into like a private daycare school. She said that events leading up to this, she was kind of having some weird experiences where she would be in her office after hours and would hear like people walking down the stairs, and then she would go check the stairwell and nobody would be there, or she would hear noises coming from classrooms and open up the door and see nothing. She said she would be the only one on the property at this time because she was in charge of like opening the daycare center, and then she would often stay after hours. So nobody was in the building when she was hearing these noises. On this particular day, she was opening the daycare. She went in that door that you saw at the end of the hall and noticed there was an iPad laying on the ground. This was really odd to her because these iPads are put into this like cabinet area that are hooked on like chargers. And she said they're very secure and they're like sitting up on charging decks, if that makes sense. She thought maybe an intruder came in or something, so she immediately notified the security officer who came and checked the camera footage. And that is the camera footage that you saw. Literally, the way that iPad just flings out of that cabinet is giving me chills right now. In the beginning, I feel like I also saw some kind of an orb object, but I've watched this video so many times and I feel like it's just unexplainable. Tell me what you saw in the video, if you saw the orbs like I did, or if you noticed anything else that's odd, and leave in the comments if you have any weird experiences like this.
The way that iPad flew across the room is hard to wrap your head around. Now here's a bit of context. The woman who shared this video works at the daycare and said there had been a series of strange occurrences long before this day. She'd often stay late in her office and hear what sounded like footsteps coming down the old wooden stairs, only to find no one there. Other times, faint noises would come from the classrooms after hours, toys rattling, drawers opening, whispers she couldn't quite make out. On the morning this footage was recorded, she arrived early and found one of the iPads lying on the floor. Now, she's the one who usually opens the daycare, so at that time, the building should have been completely empty, the iPads locked away in a cabinet as usual. Thinking it might have been a break-in, she called security. Omen people believe it's residual energy from when the building was still a church, that maybe the spirits of those who once gathered there never really left. Others think the conversion of the sacred space might have disturbed something that didn't want to be moved, but what do you think really happened inside that old daycare? In this next clip, a woman was walking down a quiet street late at night when her camera picked up something she couldn't explain. Watch.
Or the sub for you is going to be more. Everything's going up, but our wages aren't going up. Because I'm still seeing wages that are fucking pitiful on Indeed. Oh yay, I can make the same amount of money I made when I was out of high school, you know? Looks like there was a figure just standing right there. That's so crazy. I think it was my own shadow. That happens way too often.
At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a shadow, but take a closer look. The outline, the faint movement, and those glowing eyes staring straight at her. Some viewers think she may have caught a shadow figure, a manifestation often linked to dark energy or spiritual unrest. Others believe it's something far more physical, a creature that thrives in the dark, staying just beyond our understanding. There could be many other explanations for what she saw, like a trick of the light, an animal, or maybe something else entirely. But the idea that it could be something aware of her presence is what makes this clip so unsettling. Because if figures like this can move freely among us, unnoticed and unbothered, it makes you wonder what else is out there when the streets go quiet. So, what do you think she captured that night? And do you believe that some things walk among us, some seen and others we were never meant to see? Now, in this next clip, a woman named Keys has been dealing with strange activity in her home, the kind that keeps her up at night. But this time, she finally managed to catch something on camera. Watch this.
What is happening right now? First the door was moving, then I heard like talking, and then I keep seeing shadows. And for anyone telling me that I should go out there, yeah, why don't you go out there, please? Oh, it just opened and shut right in front of me. Oh man, I wish I could. Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! I'm freaking out. And before anyone comes at me, it's freaking the middle of October in Pennsylvania. It's freezing out, so I have no windows open. I have one fan that circulates throughout the whole room, and that door has never done that. Like, it's moved on its own, but never just like slammed shut like that. I can't believe I just caught that on camera. What the actual believe I just caught that. And of course I'm alone. Yay me. Fun times.
Whatever that was, it's not the first time she's seen it. Keys says things like this have been happening for months. Objects moving on their own, lights flickering even when the power's stable, and that unsettling feeling that someone's standing right behind her when no one is there. She's tried everything from cleansing rituals to changing rooms, but nothing seems to stop it. And now, after this footage, she's starting to wonder if whatever's haunting her house might be getting stronger. If you've ever experienced something similar, drop your thoughts below. What did you do to make it stop? Because at this point, Keyes is running out of ideas and courage. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of Nebraska's most haunted locations, the Argo Hotel. This place has a long and unsettling history. Years ago, when it was still a sanatorium, a woman named Alice reportedly died during childbirth in the basement. Since then, people say her spirit never left. They hear her crying softly in the hallways at night, sometimes calling for her baby. But here's the disturbing part. During renovations, workers found skeletal remains of an infant sealed inside one of the walls. Many believe it was Alice's child, and she's not the only one said to haunt this place. Guests staying in room 1 often complain about their blankets being tugged off in the middle of the night, or waking up to the sound of faint breathing right beside them. On November 28, 2024, Ian decided to spend the night alone inside the Argo Hotel, hoping to capture proof of what's really happening here. Watch.
That sounded like a lady's voice, right there. I swear to God, I just heard that right behind me. Alice, is that you? She's that ghostly woman that they see wandering around. Could you say something again? I don't know if I'm just losing it, but I swear to God I heard that. I'm not hearing anything else. It's dead quiet. Alice, was that you I just heard? Whoa. There's something standing right over there. It was right behind that couch. There was something literally standing in that photo. It was like a mist or something. But I'm not seeing it anymore. It's completely gone.
So was that Alice still wandering these halls, or something else entirely? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. This next clip is an update from the family that once opened their door after weeks of strange knocking. The same family whose life changed from odd disturbances to full-blown haunting. Now, just when they thought things might calm down, the activity has escalated, and it's getting worse, especially around the kitchen. Watch.
Padre Santo.
Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad así en la tierra como en el cielo.
This isn't the soft, tentative knocking of before. This is aggressive, hard, demanding. It rattles the door's frame. It shakes the house. It doesn't stop after 1 or 2 knocks. It repeats, builds, as though whatever's on the other side has run out of patience and is desperate to get in. That alone raises a chilling question. They once opened the door, and after that, chaos followed. So why is there knocking again? Some believe when a spirit becomes comfortable with a house, it doesn't stay alone. It invites others. And those other presences tend to be far less patient, far more dangerous. With this kind of knocking, the thing behind the door could be far worse than what first showed up. Opening it may no longer just let in a curious specter, but something malevolent, something hungry. As desperate as this family must be, at this point, opening the door isn't an option. Not until they have a plan or someone powerful enough to handle what might come through. If you were them, what would you do now? Change house? Set up protection? Call professionals? Whatever their next move is, one thing is certain. What's behind that door may be beyond anything they've seen before, and until we get more footage, more answers, or some clarity, this remains a mystery. This next clip is also an update from a previous investigation where a team of ghost hunters explored an old property that once belonged to an elderly couple who passed away, leaving the home abandoned for years. For days they've been at the house, documenting everything from soft knocks echoing through the hallway to objects subtly shifting whenever no one was looking. At one point, if they reached out to pick something up, no matter whether it was a notebook, a candle, or even a cup, the table would suddenly start vibrating violently until they dropped the item, almost like the spirit was warning them, "Don't touch my things." Even then, the investigators didn't leave. They felt strongly that whatever was there wasn't aggressive, only protective. So they tried something different, something that would confirm whether a spirit was truly responding to them. Watch this.
Da, nu știu, punem jos acolo.
Aici în casă?
Mai aici, în spate, la tablou. O pisare asta, nu știu, pe ceva.
Așa?
Da, nu contează.
Dar ce vrei să fac?
Hai să vezi acum șmecherie.
Explică-mi și mie.
Deci îl lăsăm pe Nea Gheorghe aici, da? Bun. Acum. Închidem balconul. Eu am prins care-i faza, ca să știți.
Dar să nu și mergem, poate murim noi, ca măcar
mult, dar parcă n-ai mai murit.
Da, am murit, dar uite mai am.
Oricare spirit te află aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare strigoi, prin puterea primordială, îți ordon să miști tabloul ăsta sau să-l dai jos sau...
Eu am murit.
Da? Deci ceva se lega. Nu mă sperii, nu rămân surprins. Fiindcă știam, eram sigur, 90% eram sigur că o să se întâmple chestia asta.
Adică când ne amândoi în balcon faci așa?
Da, fii atent. Păi așa că-l iau. Stai așa, mă. Am luat pe Nea Gheorghe și lăsăm mai...
Și acum ce se întâmplă? Din timp murim?
Băi, oricare spirit te afla aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare suflet neliniștit, prin puterea primordială îți ordon să miști. Du-te, fă cu meciul tău, tragă meciul tău, l-o da jos să moară familia mea, l-o dau jos.
That moment was all the proof they needed, and after that, the house changed. The activity grew stronger. Watch.
Ia-l repede, ia-l.
O căzut singur. O căzut singur. Hai de pula mea. De pula mea.
Doamne, mi-am făcut cruci. Credeți-mă pe bunic, mi-am făcut cruci. E gata, e.
Îl ard în tămâie.
E gata, e, nu mai, e gata, e.
Îl ard în tămâie.
O dispărut, mâncați-l. Tu, măi, nea Gheorghe, măi. Oricare spirit te află aici, îți ordon să faci ceea ce faci, să faci în fața camerei. Poza e jos, mă, acolo, rămas jos.
What came next sparked a completely different debate among viewers. Have a look.
Bun, nea Gheorghe, dacă tot ești acolo lângă păpușa aia, poți un pic să o miști sau să o faci să meargă? Deci dacă se mișcă păpușa, am plecat acasă, vă zic de pe acum. Băga mea și pula în dracu să-mi bag. Gata, îmi bag pula în casa asta. Gata, fraților, v-am bag în casa asta. Ieși afară, băga mea și pula, nică ne omoară.
The discovery of those dolls shifted the entire conversation. Many began questioning whether the spirit they'd been communicating with was truly tied to the house, or tied to the dolls themselves. In the paranormal world, dolls are known to hold attachments. Spirits sometimes cling to them, reside in them, or even use them as vessels when they can't anchor themselves anywhere else. So now, there were two theories. Either the spirit belonged to someone who once lived in the home, or the previous owners unknowingly brought home a doll that already carried an attachment. After seeing those dolls move the way they did, the team didn't need any more convincing. They packed up their equipment, left the property immediately, and made it very clear they had no intention of spending another night inside that house. Now in this next video, a guy named Kyle, who you might remember from several of our previous videos, is still dealing with the same thing that's been tormenting him for months. Knocking sounds that seem to move from room to room, always following him, always getting louder. But this time, he was finally able to trace one of those knocks directly to the basement, and he discovered something that left him more confused than ever. Take a look.
Gosh dang it, I'm hearing that knocking sound again. There it is. Where is it coming from? Right there, right there. It's coming from this door. That's where it's been coming from. Somebody's knocking on that, or something is knocking on this freaking door. There's nobody there, obviously. Well, at least I now know where it's coming from.
Finding no one at the door, no footsteps, not even a shadow fleeing the scene, left him with only one conclusion. Whatever is knocking isn't human. And honestly, after everything Kyle has been through in that house, this shouldn't even be surprising anymore. Because remember, this is the same guy who woke up one night and caught a dark figure standing frozen inside his crawl space, unmoving, just staring straight ahead as if it had been waiting for him. The same guy who's heard children laughing in the middle of the night, even though he has no kids, seen things in his attic shift around on their own, and has documented footsteps pacing inside the walls, things falling in the garage, small objects getting pushed across the floor, and the worst one yet, his home camera once caught a figure standing quietly beside his bed while he slept, vanishing just seconds before he woke up. All these incidents, from the crawl space, to the attic, to the garage, to his bedroom, and now the basement, connect in one disturbing pattern. Whatever is in this house moves freely, watches him, and makes itself known whenever it wants to. So until Kyle drops more updates, this remains one of the hardest cases to decode. In the following video, a guy and his partner have been dealing with something extremely unsettling inside their home. For days now, they've been coming back from work to find their living room and kitchen completely out of place. Pillows on the floor, cabinets half open, small items thrown across the room, and once, an entire stack of folded laundry scattered across the hallway as if someone walked through it intentionally. One of them insisted it had to be the cat, but the other argued that it didn't make sense. The cat isn't strong enough to knock over half the things they found on the ground. So, to settle the argument once and for all, they installed cameras. Here's what the camera caught. This clearly shows the cat is innocent, but it also confirms something else entirely. The couple now has another presence in the house, one they never invited and one they don't understand. And after seeing that footage, their minds immediately shifted from who did this to what exactly are we living with and how dangerous can it be? So look closely at the clips to see if you can piece things together. Watch. After this second clip, people in the comments began forming their own theories. Many said the movement feels exactly like a child spirit, but it didn't only happen during the day. Watch this. Now, how do you explain a chair rocking on its own in the middle of the night, almost as if someone was sitting in it and pushing off the ground with their feet? That detail alone shifted the conversation. Some viewers pointed out that this kind of night activity usually means the spirit is fully comfortable, too comfortable. Others believe the chair movement ties directly to the mess during the day, suggesting the same presence is active around the clock. If it really is a child spirit, it might not even realize it's causing fear, just doing what kids do, playing, exploring, touching things that don't belong to them. But until more updates are shared, and until the couple figures out exactly what kind of presence they're dealing with, this case remains completely unsolved. Now, this next video captures something that genuinely shook a lot of viewers, because it happened while Rebecca was homeschooling her kids. Watch.
2 and 0. So it's asking you which intervals in which the y is increasing. Select all and apply. Okay, so now we have it. So we have here to here. So the first one, -6, okay? And then we have, then it goes down, 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 up, and up. Okay, so we have -6 and -6 and 0.
At first glance, your mind wants to go with the simplest explanation, that the tree was already hanging by a thread. But according to Rebecca, the tree was still firmly attached to its base. No visible damage, no rot, nothing that looked like it was about to collapse. And then people who slowed the footage down began noticing something else. Something that made the entire situation feel way less natural. Several viewers claimed they saw a figure moving behind the tree just seconds before it began shaking on its own. So was it gravity, a rare coincidence, or something attempting to reveal itself through the only object it could manipulate? You decide. In this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visited Bonanzaville, an open-air museum filled with preserved historic structures from different eras of North Dakota. There's the old haunted tavern where staff have reported glasses clinking on their own, the mansion's said to echo footsteps long after closing, and even a small church where a shadowy figure is often seen slipping between the pews. And of course, Ian decided to walk through all of it completely alone. He started his investigation inside the old train shed, an authentic 1930s passenger coach where visitors have sworn they've seen a phantom conductor pacing the aisle. But for Ian, that night, the train shed was calm. Where things shifted was the next building he stepped into, the telephone museum. Watch.
These phones are dead. They're not even on. I'm not even sure if you'd even be able to make calls with it right now. Could you move this? The rotary dial? Whoa, what the? Dude, that was a freaking straight up phone ringing in that room. Holy crap, that scared me. Did you just make one of the phones ring in that room? That was coming from that room over there. Oh god. Well, I suppose let's go answer.
This museum has a long, unsettling history. Staff say the phones inside often ring on their own, connecting to other historical buildings across the property. But whenever someone picks up, it's only dead air. Others have reported seeing a ghostly woman drift through the aisles, appearing and disappearing between the old switchboards. So Ian, being Ian, decided to answer one of the ringing phones himself. Watch what happened.
Hello? Could you speak through this phone? Who called that phone earlier? Put my voice recorder up to it.
A faint whisper came through his recorder, and Ian couldn't tell whether the voice came through the phone or from somewhere else inside the room. Listen again. Some say the voice sounds like it's trying to speak directly to him. Others think it's the woman people claim to see in the building, but whether it's tied to the museum, the phones, or something else entirely, one thing is clear. Whatever haunts that building knew he was there. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following video, a woman was simply recording what should have been a peaceful moment. A waterfall deep in Brazil, surrounded by nature. Nothing unusual, just a calm scene meant to capture the beauty of the place. But her camera caught something else. Watch closely.
Apareceu um cara ali no meio da água. Mozinho! Mozinho, você viu o cara no meio da água? Caraca! Ali, mozinho!
For just a brief moment, a dark, shadowy figure appears to rise from within the waterfall itself, before suddenly vanishing back into the rushing falls as if it was never there. Viewers have slowed the footage frame by frame, and the shape is hard to ignore. To this day, no clear explanation has been able to fully account for what was captured. Some believe this could be a jinn, entities said to inhabit wild, untouched places like forests, rivers, and waterfalls, especially in parts of the world where such stories have existed for centuries. Others suggest it may be a duende, a folkloric being often linked to natural environments in South America. There are also those who think it could be something even stranger, a being briefly slipping through from another dimension, visible only for seconds before disappearing. Skeptics argue shadows, water flow, or camera artifacts. But what makes this clip unsettling is how distinct the figure appears and how deliberately it seems to move. So what do you think this really was? A ghost tied to the land? A jinn drawn to the water? A duende watching from the falls? Or something else entirely? Now, this next video was recorded by a man who's slowly running out of explanations. For weeks, his young son has been insisting that there's someone in the house with them. At first, it was easy to dismiss. A child's imagination, shadows on the wall, toys left in the wrong place. The father brushed it off, telling his son that whatever he thought he was seeing was all in his head. But the claims didn't stop. The boy started talking to empty corners of the room. He'd pause mid-play, stare, and wave as if someone had just passed by. Sometimes he'd laugh, other times he'd go completely quiet, listening to something only he could hear. One night, just as they were about to go to sleep, the boy became visibly unsettled. Have a look.
कहाँ बैठा हुआ है कौन बैठा हुआ है ये यही मैं बाहर चला गया कौन है कौन ये कैसा दिखता है इसको बुलाओ इधर बुलाओ इसको बुलाओ बुलाओ इसको कहाँ क्या है यहाँ पे कुछ भी तो नहीं है क्यों अर्थ कर रहा है मैंने अकेले सोना होता है मत बुलाओ इसको इससे बात करें इसको बुलाओ उसको मुझे बात करनी है तुमसे है लड़की है लड़का है ये जिससे बात कर रहे हो ये लड़की है कि लड़का है
Watching the footage back, the father still wasn't sure what to make of it. He couldn't see anything obvious, so he shared the video online, hoping that maybe someone else would notice what he couldn't. Because at this point, the situation was starting to bother him, not just because of what his son claimed to see, but because of how consistent those claims had become. Many people say you should never tell a child they're lying when they insist they see something, especially when their fear doesn't fade and their reactions don't change. Some believe children are more sensitive to things adults no longer notice. So what do you see in the video? And more importantly, how should he handle it the next time his son says he's still here? In November 2019, a young man decided to explore an abandoned 22-story building and livestream the experience. At first, everything felt routine. Dark hallways, peeling paint, the usual eerie silence that comes with places long forgotten. But things changed when he reached the 10th floor. As he angled his camera down the stairwell, for just a moment, it looked like someone dressed in black was moving up the stairs toward him. Not walking, but climbing at an unnaturally fast pace. Have a look. At first glance, you might think it's just another person, but based on the distance covered in about 7 seconds, that's an extreme speed. Even trained athletes would struggle to move that fast in a confined stairwell. And then there's the sound. As the figure approaches, a low, aggressive growling can be heard in the audio. Later, people claim that his phone was found higher up the stairwell, still recording, even though the man himself was nowhere nearby. Eventually, he was confirmed to be physically safe. But according to those who spoke with him afterward, he was too shaken to give a clear explanation of what happened inside that building. So what do you think really happened? A terrifying misunderstanding or something far worse? Let me know your thoughts on this one. In this next video, Kyle, someone who's already dealt with one strange incident after another, is still trying to figure out what, if anything, connects all of it. Just when things seemed to calm down and the activity finally stopped, a new puzzle surfaced. Listen closely.
Listen to this and tell me if you hear a kid running around inside my attic. You hear that? Things have been quiet for like weeks now, and then all of a sudden it's just a ruckus in the attic, like constant. Listen. Isn't that wild? It sounds like a kid is running around up there. And I promise I do not have a child in my attic. It's just crazy. Yeah, things have been really quiet lately. I thought maybe it had all stopped. That's why I haven't been posting. But I guess we're back with a vengeance in 2026.
What makes this unsettling is how much it sounds like children running back and forth inside his attic. What makes it worse is the timing. Kyle says he'd finally had several quiet days. No disturbances, no strange sounds, nothing to suggest whatever had been bothering him was still around. He started to believe the activity had passed, that maybe it really was over. And then this happens. Some believe that when things go quiet, it isn't because whatever's there is gone, but because it's waiting. Others speculate that attic spaces often act as focal points, places where sounds manifest more clearly, or where something chooses to stay out of sight. Kyle is hoping this was a one-off incident, but after everything he's already experienced, it's not something he's willing to bet on. Now, in this next clip, Nate is home alone when he notices something peeking out from his basement. At first, it's subtle, easy to dismiss as shadows or his eyes playing tricks on him. But the feeling sticks with him long enough that he decides to grab his camera and record. This is what he captured.
Guys, check it out. Something was peeking. Right out. From the basement. I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the back. What the fuck? This has been the third morning in a row. Like clockwork. I might have to look back, but it might be around the same times as well. I don't understand. There's nothing. And then I was hearing steps coming down those stairs, but there's nothing. Guys. I don't know, guys. Maybe we can try. What was that?
Forget whatever was peeking out for a moment. What immediately unsettles viewers is the whispering. Some people claim they can make out words, while others say it's just incoherent murmuring. What makes this harder to ignore is that Nate says the peeking hadn't been a one-time thing. He claims it's been happening almost every morning for several days, always from the same spot. But one night, Nate is home watching a game when he notices the peeking again. This time, it didn't just peek. Watch closely.
Alright guys, please tell me you saw. Whatever keeps peeking out from there. Did it. I'm literally just sitting here watching the game. Wife will be home in about a half hour, so I was just waiting with the pup. And I saw. Nothing, like always. Never anything. Nothing down there. Just bags of returnables. And hoodies. What the At least it's not a knife, I guess. Jesus Christ.
Now objects are being thrown. The energy feels different, more aggressive, more urgent. But once again, what disturbs people the most is the whispering. Viewers who compared both clips say it sounds like the same voice from the first video. There's a theory circulating online that whatever is in the house may be the spirit of a woman, something trapped, unable to move on, attempting to communicate the only way it knows how. Some believe the whispers aren't meant to frighten, but to get attention. Others strongly disagree, arguing that throwing objects and hiding in shadows isn't a cry for help, it's a warning. But until Nate provides more updates, there's no way to know which interpretation is right. So for now, this case remains unsolved. In the following video, a man believes he's dealing with a mimic, and according to him, whatever it is seems to be getting bolder every time it appears. He says the hardest part isn't just hearing the voices, it's when it chooses to act. Around 3 a.m., watch what happened. This time, the voice sounds exactly like his mother. After this clip surfaced, one question kept coming up again and again, and you may have noticed the pattern too. Why do mimics almost always ask to be let in? Folklore across multiple cultures shares the same idea. Mimics, whether they're thought to be spirits, entities, or something else entirely, aren't believed to have free access. Instead, they rely on invitation. Asking to be let in isn't about manners, it's about permission. Once acknowledged, responded to, or welcomed, they're believed to gain stronger influence, sometimes attaching themselves to a place, a person, or both. That's why the voices often sound familiar, trusted, and safe. Because the goal isn't fear, it's consent. As for how people claim to deal with mimics, opinions are split. Some believe the worst thing you can do is respond at all. No talking back, no opening doors, no acknowledging the voice. Others suggest grounding the space by keeping lights on, removing reflective surfaces near doors, or placing physical barriers like salt lines or iron objects, believed in folklore to disrupt whatever is trying to cross over. But many say confrontation is the solution. So the question is, would you open the door or stay silent and hope it goes away? Either way, this is one encounter most people hope they never experience. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo investigation at the infamous Squirrel Cage Jail, officially known as the Pottawatomie County Jail in Iowa. This time, his final stop is one of the most unsettling locations in the entire building, Jake Bird's cell. Jake Bird was a convicted serial killer, often referred to as the Bluebeard of Tacoma, and is surrounded by one of the darkest reputations tied to this jail. What makes his story even more disturbing is the so-called Jake Bird curse, a legend claiming that several officials connected to his trial and execution later suffered sudden deaths or misfortune. When Ian steps into Jake Bird's cell, the first thing that immediately stands out is Jake's axe, displayed nearby. According to local history and long-standing accounts, An axe like this was linked to Jake Bird's crimes and is now kept as a reminder of the brutality tied to his name. To see if Jake Bird's presence still lingers, Ian decides to conduct a spirit box session inside the cell. Watch closely.
Are you here with me? Said summon. I heard summon. Who am I speaking with? Jake Bird. Jake Bird. It just said Jake Bird. That was so clear.
Not long after the session, Ian starts feeling unwell. But before he could leave, something else happened. Watch.
I'm starting to feel really lightheaded. Out of it. And I'm feeling really nauseous too. Oh, holy f***. I swear to God, I just see the shadow. It went into the bunk bed where the axe is. Oh God, I really don't want to go back in there. I'm sorry if I offended you, Jake Bird. I didn't mean to. I'm just gonna retrieve my spirit box. Don't mind me. Oh God. I don't want to be in that cell anymore.
At that moment, Ian didn't hesitate. He ends the session and leaves the area entirely. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip is about a family we've talked about on this channel before, and if you remember their story, then you already know things got pretty unsettling the first time around. Here's a quick rundown. It all began on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. It went on for several nights until the father finally decided to check. And the moment he opened that door, there was a figure standing right outside. After that encounter, the knocking stopped, but the house wasn't the same. Strange movements, electronics acting up, little things happening that didn't feel like coincidences. They prayed, they waited, and after a few months, the house finally settled. No knocking, no shadows, no disturbances. For a while, it seemed like whatever had shown up that night had moved on. But now, months later, the pattern seems to be starting all over again. Watch this.
Vente. Le están tocando.
Sí. La niña empezó a llorar.
Ya no haga mucho ruido para ver quién es. No prendas. ¿Cómo rápido? Está bien inquieta, ¿verdad? Sí. Ya son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Dónde están las llaves? Hoy. Ahí quédate, espérame. No hay nadie. No hay nadie. No, uy, otra vez. Sin menos. vámonos. ¿Quién será? No es nadie, Ceci. Yo creo que ya nos subimos a dormir. Ya. Vámonos. Vámonos porque igual le voy a enseñar la hora. Siempre pasa lo mismo. Miren. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. 25. Siempre hace lo mismo, ¿verdad? Ya vamos a... Voy a cerrar otra vez.
This time, they knew better than to open the door. They didn't want to repeat the same mistake, but one night, while his wife was trying to put their baby girl to sleep, the house security camera picked up something they never expected to see. Watch this.
Sí, mira, quiero que observes bien este video y me digas qué te parece. Puede ser cualquier cosa, pudo ser una persona, pero realmente con seguridad no te sé qué decir. Observa los movimientos de mi hija de 4 meses, como ya está casi dormida y ahorita en un ratito como que se altera. El video no tiene audio, así que por eso se lo estoy relatando. Vean ahí cómo se alteró mi hija y ve directamente hacia el portón. Miren, ahí está observando, ahí se asomó algo. Vean eso. Vean lo extraño que el color de piel que tiene eso, vean. Y mi hija ahí está alterada y si se dan cuenta, no deja de mirar hacia el portón. Vean, mi hija está mirándolo. Ahí se volteó y eso se desvaneció. Bastante extraño.
If you take a good look at the footage, the little girl is completely calm at first, just resting, until something shifts. Out of nowhere, she gets upset and she starts crying, like she's reacting to something we can't see. And if you look at the door, a faint figure seems to be peeking inside. The father said he couldn't place the shape at all, and what made it worse is that he never saw anything walk away. 1 second the figure was there, and the next, it wasn't. No footsteps, no movement, no shadows trailing off. Just there, then gone. And with everything they've experienced before, people began to wonder if this was the same presence that stood outside their door months ago, or if something completely new had entered the picture. Then, around 2 a.m., their daughter started crying again. But this time, it wasn't the knocking, it was something far worse. Proof that whatever they'd been dealing with wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the house. Have a look.
No digas mamadas. No. ¿Qué dijo? ¿Eh? ¿Qué dijo? No mames, güey. Se me va a apagar. Está hablando. No, güey. No, la verga. No mames, no chingues. Se puso feo. Raza. Se puso feo, les dije. No mames, güey.
It didn't take long before the knocking returned too, and when it came back, it wasn't random or occasional anymore. It happened every single night, like something determined, something trying to wear them down. Imagine living with that, knowing it's coming, knowing you can't stop it, and counting down the seconds until it starts again. Eventually, even though he knew exactly what happened the last time, he started opening doors, but only the doors inside. And what happened next felt like going from bad to something much worse, almost like stepping out of the frying pan and straight into the fire. Watch.
No sé si se escuche. Oigan, como si estuvieran en la parte de enfrente. No mames.
Son las 2 de la mañana. Uy, cabrón. Voy a buscar las llaves. No mames, está acá enfrente, ¿eh? Uy, uy. Ven como... No mames. Ah, cabrón. No mames, cabrón.
The activities in the house escalated after that night, but this time the knocking didn't stop. And you know what they say. When the knocking refuses to end, it usually means whatever is outside isn't trying to leave, it's trying to come in. And in situations like this, people believe persistent knocking is a sign that the presence has grown stronger, more intentional, almost desperate for access. It got so bad that it began waking the entire family every single night. At this point, they started to believe that not opening the main door wasn't protecting them from anything, because strange things were still happening inside the house even on nights they kept the door shut. But at least if they open it, the knocking would stop for a few hours, just enough peace to reach the morning. So reluctantly, they fell into a routine. Every time the knocking returned, the father would open the door just to make it stop, until one night he walked toward the entrance expecting the same pattern, but instead saw something deeply unsettling. Watch this.
Johnny, están tocando.
¿Ah?
Están tocando.
¿Quién es?
Nadie, realmente, mamá.
¿Están tocando?
Sí.
Ah, sí, no manches.
Escucha.
Otra vez, güey, a ver. Dame, a ver, aguanta. Espérame aquí, aguántame.
Sí.
Otra vez. Son las 3 de la mañana, gente. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Deja de molestar. Quiero que te largues. ¿Qué es eso? Oh, no manches. Oh, no manches. Ceci.
This wasn't a neighbor, this wasn't a prank. What he saw looked dark and full of intent, the kind of thing that doesn't accidentally show up at your door. And when you connect this moment to everything else, The figure peeking inside the house, the child crying at unseen things, the sudden electronic malfunctions, the rocking chair moving on its own, the doll moving, it all begins to feel like one presence that finally revealed its true form. Now the family is actively seeking help from anyone who can make sense of all this. But while they search for answers, the knocking hasn't stopped. They still open the door sometimes, but now with extreme caution, because they never know what might be standing there.
Mira. Y el chiquito no.
Mira, no mames.
Ya, yo voy grabando, yo voy grabando.
Tranquila, tranquila.
Ven. ¿Quién anda ahí?
To make matters worse, the electricity in the house hasn't been the same since the night they saw that strange figure. Lights flicker, appliances glitch, and even their older kid is getting tired of living in a place that feels more haunted with every passing night. In the next clip they posted, things took a turn none of them were prepared for. What used to happen strictly at night, the knocking, the footsteps, the strange movements, suddenly began happening in broad daylight. Objects would shift from one spot to another, heavy thudding footsteps, as if someone unseen was walking up the stairs, and random items in the house kept going missing only to reappear in odd places. Then one afternoon, the father captured something on camera that left both viewers and investigators genuinely alarmed. Watch this.
¿Estás escuchando?
Sí.
Vente. Son las 2 de la tarde, se está manifestando algo. Tengo que decir que no hay nadie. Estoy completamente solo. No manches. Se acaba de abrir la puerta del cuarto. Este cuarto, pues nadie lo habita. Estoy solamente con mi hijo de 8 años. Vente, Neto, no te quedes. Se vio claramente como se abrió la puerta sola y no hay ni viento. De hecho, está cerrada la ventana, todo está cerrado. No, vámonos.
Even with every window shut and all doors locked, one door slowly opened on its own, like someone on the inside had gently pushed it. Many believe this was a sign the presence inside the home has grown comfortable, too comfortable, almost as if it no longer cares to hide its movements. Others think letting it in that very first night might have given it access it never should have had, and now it's roaming the entire house freely, crossing boundaries it once respected. And things have only gotten worse night after night. The family is so desperate that viewers have sent their clips to paranormal experts, hoping someone can offer answers or at least a solution to stop the constant fear they're living in. But while they wait for help, every day and every night brings a new disturbance. One night, it sounded like someone was in the kitchen, loud enough that the husband thought an intruder might have broken in. But when he went to check, this is what he found.
Oye, voy a ir a bajar,
Sí, a ver, ve a checar qué es.
Voy a ver, ahí quédate con la niña.
Sí.
Hasta se despertó, ¿va?
Sí.
No hay nadie. Por lo regular siempre se escucha como si hubiera alguien ahí en la cocina. Se escuchaba que estaban jugando con los trastes, como si estuvieran botando cosas, así bastante fuerte. Lo primero que pensé es que se habían metido a la casa. Mierda. ¿Qué hacen esos sartenes botados? Miren. Empieza a sentir un escalofrío en esta parte bastante fuerte. Voy a levantar esto. Miren cómo estaba colgado esto. Ay. ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Lárgate de aquí. ¿Por qué nos molestas? Oh, madre de Dios. ¿Qué es eso que se escucha? Lárgate de aquí. No mames. Hey, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Sea lo que sea, no perteneces aquí. Lárgate. Necesitamos ayuda, por favor. Esto se está saliendo de control, amigos. ¿Qué es eso?
Pans scattered all across the floor, and before he could even finish placing them back, something else happened. Sudden, sharp, and terrifying. Almost like the presence wanted to make sure he knew he wasn't alone in that kitchen. At this point, whatever is haunting this home is no longer subtle, no longer shy, no longer hiding in the shadows. It's active, bold, and possibly growing stronger. And before this turns into something violent, the family is pleading for help, hoping someone can intervene before things get even worse. Now, in this next clip, the popular ghost hunter Ian went deep into the Minnesota woods, and on this particular night, he was making his way toward an isolated cemetery rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the entire region. He was completely alone out there, and even he admitted that he was starting to freak out.
Okay. I'm coming towards you, whoever you are. I hear somebody walking up and down this trail. Could you walk towards me? Oh my God! Holy shit! Oh my God! I'm sorry. You almost gave me a heart attack. I know I asked you to do that, but damn! Holy moly, I didn't think you were gonna actually do it.
Vicksburg Cemetery sat hidden in the wilderness, untouched, overgrown, and swallowed by trees. Local legend claimed that one gravestone in particular would glow at night, and that every spring it sprouted fresh flowers that dripped what looked like blood. It was the kind of place that felt unsettling even in daylight. And yet, because it was Ian, he chose to spend the entire night there anyway. The place had the kind of heavy stillness you'd expect from a cemetery buried deep in the woods, but as he walked around with his flashlight sweeping through the darkness, he saw something that stopped him. One entire grave had been left in total shambles. Stone cracked apart, soil disturbed, like something had forced its way out or clawed its way in. And in typical Ian fashion, instead of backing away, he tried communicating with whatever spirit might still be lingering there.
Gosh. This whole grave is in shambles. I'm sorry that your tombstone has been destroyed. What happened? Is it vandalized? Whoa. Okay, I just heard you.
At this moment, a woman's whisper intelligently responds to my question.
In my left hand, I have a green light. It won't harm you in any way. All it will simply do is detect your presence. If you're still here, could you tell me your name? Because unfortunately, there's really no way for me to tell. I really don't want to dig around your grave shambles, because I don't want to damage it any further. You don't have to be shy, ma'am. As I said, I'm just here to visit. I'm here with nothing but respect. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes right now, but that's okay. It's worth it. If I could just hear your voice one more time. Whoa. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I heard that. I heard you once again. Whoa, you just drained my battery too. Dang, dude. All right. I'm gonna review this when I get home, and I'll know your message.
Later, after reviewing his footage, he realized that the voice captured on camera sounded like it was saying the word foreign. That one detail bothered him enough to dig deeper, and when he researched the grave, he found out it belonged to a woman named Vesta Black Davis, buried alone with no family members anywhere near her. A sad and lonely revelation, but it raised an even darker question. If no one visited her and no one cared for the site, then why was her grave the only one shattered? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured by a Ring camera inside a home. At the time, the homeowners were simply feeding their cat and didn't notice anything strange while it was happening. It wasn't until later, when they reviewed the footage, that they realized something else had been there with them the entire time. Watch closely.
Buddy.
At first glance, many people were quick to say it was just a reflection. But before you settle on that explanation, here's what the garage looks like during the day. There's no window there, and no reflective surface that would explain it. The empty space you see is exactly where the car was parked in the original video, and the red circle marks the exact spot where the unidentified figure appeared. Some viewers believe it might be a residual presence, briefly replaying an energy tied to the house rather than actively interacting with the environment. A few people pointed out the cat's behavior as well, and of course, skeptics argue it could still be a lighting anomaly or camera glitch, even without a visible source. The homeowners say they've never experienced anything like this before, but now that they've seen it, they can't stop wondering, was this a one-time glitch caught at the perfect moment? Or something that's been there all along, only now revealing itself? What do you think? Now, in this next video, a woman named Jennifer owns a beautiful historic home that dates all the way back to 1907. filled with antique pieces that go as far back as 1903. But not long after moving in, Jennifer began experiencing things she couldn't explain, and things that steadily became harder to ignore. Soft footsteps when no one else was home, faint whispering that seemed to come from empty rooms, objects shifting ever so slightly when she wasn't looking, and shadows, not quick tricks of the light, but lingering shapes that felt intentional. Concerned, she eventually reached out to several mediums, all of whom told her the same thing. They sensed children in the house. One evening, when the noises became louder and more persistent, Jennifer decided to pull out her phone and start recording, hoping to finally figure out what was causing it. Take a look.
Okay, I'm upstairs and the cracking was just me standing here. However, did you hear the sound after that? Because I'm a little freaked out. Because of course I'm home alone. And I'm scared. I'm gonna sit here and listen. See what I get. I just saw an orb. I saw an orb in the dining room across where the mediums have seen the children. And per usual, here's my sidekick making sure I'm okay. The innkeeper. Magnolia. I feel like I'm hearing like a faint music being played. And do you see that? Maybe it's just the shining from the lights. Just seems like something's in there right now. Walk down and see. Oh my God, what was that? Okay, I'm going over here. That was a big noise. That could not have been from the cat. She's still sitting there. Look at the mist around her right now, and she's looking. Oh boy.
What makes this even more unsettling is what Jennifer later discovered. After speaking with a local historian, she learned that when the house was built, there were no nearby hospitals, and it's believed that at least 4 people died inside the home. Deaths that likely occurred under stressful, emotional circumstances, the kind many believe can leave a lasting imprint on a place. Whether this footage captured lingering memories, restless spirits, or something far more aware, one thing is clear. Jennifer's home isn't just holding antiques from the past. It may be holding on to the past itself. The following video comes from another haunted home. This one owned by a woman named Lauren, who says the activity inside her house has been escalating for quite some time. Before this night, Lauren had already shared multiple unsettling incidents. She's discovered footprints appearing in the house that don't match the size or shape of anyone who lives there. She's seen figures moving at the edge of her vision, heard voices when she was completely alone, and watched objects shift or move without being touched. Each event on its own might be easy to brush off, but together they paint a much darker picture. One night, just as Lauren was about to go to bed, she began hearing whispering, so she reached for her phone and started recording. Listen closely.
What's that? What's that? Yeah, what was that, Teddy? Yeah, let's go down. Okay.
Lauren was making a video to record the voice she heard. Instead, her camera caught a figure. Some viewers believe this could be intelligent haunting, where whatever is present is aware of Lauren and actively trying to make itself known. Others suggest the entity may be tied to the house itself, revealing itself more clearly as Lauren becomes more aware of its presence. But until Lauren shares more updates or captures clearer evidence, this case remains unresolved. Now, in this next video, a man captures something that's far from ordinary, and what happens afterward is even more unsettling. Watch closely.
Leave. Stop. You gotta go. Shh, 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 shh. Calm down. What are you? Stop. Charlie, come on. I don't even know how to explain what I'm seeing. Holy hell. No, this is crazy. Did you hear this last night? Oh, yeah. It was going last night. Now, did you... Charlie, come here. I guarantee it's going to keep on. It'll do it again. So, I don't know if you're going to see what I'm seeing. But... this is on repeat. This happens over and over. And then the knocking happens. The knocking. There it is. And it just goes and goes until you tell it stop. Can you stop, please? I mean, it's just right there. That's new. Okay. Whatever you are, you gotta go. Man, that's... yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Goodbye. Yes? Hello? What is that? Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you. Leave my lights alone.
In the footage, you can clearly see hands pressed flat against the glass, and then they simply vanish. But what made this situation truly disturbing wasn't just the clip itself, it was what the man shared afterward. He says he began experiencing that overwhelming sensation many people describe, the feeling that someone is standing just behind you, close enough to feel, but never close enough to see. He'd wake up in the morning to find his closet door wide open, even though he knew it had been shut before going to bed. And worse, the same set of handprints he saw on the glass outside now appeared on his mirror, pressed deep, as if someone had been standing inside the room, watching him while he slept. He keeps seeing a figure dressed in black, always briefly, always just out of reach, never long enough to fully make out its face. So what do you think he's dealing with? And if those hands weren't human, whose were they? This one remains deeply unsettling. In this next video, a couple experiences something strange inside their home, and this time their security camera captured it. Have a look.
Really, someone told the boss that we've got a new car, and he's pulled up next to me. And he's come into the office and he is flustered. He's gone like, oh, he's thrown everything, right? No. Thanks, Dave. Love you too.
Anyway, you were saying.
No, we don't. That's not how this works. No. I don't want to carry on with this story anymore.
He's like, yes, it is.
No. See you later.
In the footage, one of the kitchen drawers slides open on its own, even though no one is standing anywhere near it. What immediately stood out to viewers wasn't just the movement, it was the woman's reaction. According to her, this isn't even close to the worst thing she's seen in that house. She later explained that drawers opening on their own has become almost normal. There have been nights when she's heard footsteps pacing through the hallway, even though everyone in the house was already in bed. Sometimes she hears what sounds like someone quietly moving things around in the kitchen, only to walk in and find everything exactly where it should be, except for one item that's clearly been disturbed. According to her, whatever's in the house doesn't feel aggressive. If anything, she believes it might be a spirit looking for attention without actually causing harm. That belief is the only reason she doesn't think much about moments like this anymore. But others aren't so convinced. So the question is this really just a harmless ghost trying to be noticed? You decide. The following video is an update from Nate, the same man who's been documenting something repeatedly peeking out from his basement, along with a voice that's almost always whispering in his recordings. One night, Nate noticed his dog acting strangely. The dog began pacing, whining, and repeatedly looking toward the kitchen, clearly trying to alert him that something wasn't right. Nate brushed it off at first, until the dog suddenly ran out of the kitchen and went straight to the couch, where it froze, staring toward the kitchen, refusing to move. Watch closely.
Watching over at that spot. What'd you see? What is it? Tell Daddy. What'd you see? Where is it? Guys, always trust your guts. She got to like right here. Nothing in here. She is like following something. I don't know what she's following. Alright, I'm not sure what that was. No fucking way. No fucking way. I do not want you here. You are not allowed here.
Animals don't second guess what they sense, and dogs especially don't react like this without a reason. What happens next is what truly changes the tone of this entire situation. Up until now, whatever Nate has been dealing with mostly stayed subtle, whispering voices, peeking movements, objects shifting slightly. Because of that, many people believed it was a woman's spirit, especially given the soft whispering heard in earlier clips. Some thought she was trapped, confused, maybe even trying to ask for help or find peace. But this time, it crossed a line. A knife was thrown, and that single moment made people rethink everything. A spirit trying to communicate doesn't usually escalate to weapons, so is this still the spirit of a woman trying to pass on, or was that narrative wrong from the beginning? I'll leave you to be the judge. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian returns to what many locals consider the most haunted house in Minnesota, the infamous Boyd House. This is a place already known for some truly disturbing claims, dolls that seem to move on their own, unexplained footsteps, and the sound of children giggling when no one else is there. But this time, as Ian enters the house, it's unusually quiet. No noises, no movement, but the silence didn't last long. Watch closely.
Holy dude, something just came towards me. was that? Hello? Oh my gosh. Who's there? I just heard like footsteps, like heavy footsteps coming like right towards me just now, coming from the parlor here. And what's even weirder is I felt like a cold breeze like rushing towards me. I don't know if you could somehow hear it or something.
That single moment was enough to convince Ian that whatever had been dormant inside the Boyd house was no longer resting. The Boyd house was built back in 1901 and served as the longtime home of Freddie Hart, his wife Minnie, and 11 children. Now Ian needed to know who was with him.
Minnie, is that you? Are you in the kitchen right now? Those are just my creaky footsteps. Minnie, if you were up here, could you? Whoa, 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 whoa! Dude, what the heck? That light just turned on! It just turned on by itself! Oh my gosh. Dude, she is in there.
Just like previous tenants have described, cabinets began opening, and moments later, a light turned on by itself. At that point, Ian felt confident this wasn't random. The behavior matched the reports almost perfectly. If the stories are true, Minnie's spirit doesn't hide. She rearranges, interacts, and makes her presence known. For more haunting videos, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded by Morgan just days after she lost one of her closest friends. They weren't just casual friends, they spoke every day, shared routines, inside jokes, and even morning workouts together. When Morgan got the call that her friend had passed, she says it didn't feel real. For days, she moved through her house in a fog, expecting her phone to light up with a message that would never come. The truth is, grief does strange things to the mind. A few days later, Morgan began hearing a voice that resembled her friend's. At first, she convinced herself it was part of Mourning, the brain reaching for what it misses most. But then doors started opening on their own. Objects her friend loved, and things that had sentimental value began shifting slightly from where Morgan remembered placing them. One morning, she clearly heard her friend's voice again. This time, as she grabbed her phone to record, the whispering stopped, but she caught something else. The door to the room opens by itself, and that's the room where her friend used to do her morning workouts. Morgan was home alone that morning, so who opened it? After people she confided in blamed everything on grief, she decided to install security cameras. Then, one night, this happened. One of the stools moves, and if you look closely, you can see the reflection of light from the door flicker. Morgan later explains that this exact stool was her friend's favorite. She was particular about it to the extent that if someone sat on it while the other stool was empty, she'd jokingly complain. Now, the speculation splits in two directions. One possibility. If you believe in after-death communication, some say spirits manipulate familiar objects, things tied to shared memories, as a way of saying, "I'm still here." The other possibility is darker. Paranormal researchers often warn that intense grief can make someone emotionally vulnerable. If there is something in the house, it may not be her friend at all, but something mimicking her voice, using personal details to gain attention. Have you ever experienced something unusual after losing someone? And how did you handle it? Your advice might be helpful. In this next video, two sisters are home alone inside their bedroom when their house alarm suddenly goes off.
I'm recording. Wait. Do you hear that? Can you check the security footage?
The security app shows the front door wide open. as if someone has just walked in. Naturally, they assume it's a break-in, but when they replay the exact moment the door opens, there's no one there. To make things worse, a police siren can be heard outside around the same time, adding to the panic. But that was not all that happened. They hear their bedroom door open. Convinced someone is inside the house, they make a split-second decision to escape through the window. After the footage spread, many viewers blamed the wind, but the sisters posted another clip explaining why that theory doesn't hold.
Wondering that maybe the door, it was the wind, but clearly, as you can tell, you have to kind of force down to close it fully, and there's just so much space between, don't mind. There's kind of like a huge distance, so there's no way the wind could have gotten that.
After explaining the door situation, they showed what completely changed their perspective. A moment captured on camera that made them question everything they thought they knew about that day. Take a look.
Clear.
A small, shadowy figure dashes past the camera. It moves incredibly fast, too fast to clearly define. There are no visible features, no clear arms, legs, or face, just a dark mass that crosses the frame and disappears. And if you look closely, the motion camera seems to adjust, almost like it's tracking something moving freely through the house. The sisters say this is a new build, not an old property with some long-forgotten history. So the typical house history explanation wasn't even on their radar, but the sequence is what unsettles them most. The front door opening first, then the bedroom door, then the shadow figure appearing inside. They believe something forced its way in, and that raises an earlier question. If something unseen opened the front door, could it have also opened the bedroom door? Skeptics might argue camera glitches, motion blur, pressure differences in the house, or even a small animal moving quickly past the lens. Security cameras, especially in low light, can distort shapes and exaggerate speed, but the sequence of events, alarm, door opening, bedroom door moving, shadow figure, happening back to back is what unsettles most viewers. So what do you think? a chain of coincidences and technical quirks, or something that entered that house and moved through it freely? Now, in this next clip, a viral video captures something strange happening in a garden. Have a look. This isn't a powered unit, it's manually operated so we can rule out mechanical automation. The next obvious explanation would be wind. But here's the issue. None of the other equipment around it is moving. The nearby machines remain completely still. If strong gusts were responsible, you'd expect at least some movement in surrounding objects. Yet, only this one machine rocks back and forth. Some believe objects that require physical interaction, especially those designed for repetitive motion, are easier for unseen forces to manipulate. In alleged cases of poltergeist activity, it's common to hear about chairs rocking, swings moving, or gym equipment shifting without anyone present. Others go further and speculate it could be the spirit of someone who once used that machine often, returning to a routine they performed countless times. Another theory is residual energy. If this garden space is frequently used for exercise, some paranormal researchers argue that repetitive human motion can somehow imprint onto an environment, replaying under the right conditions, almost like an echo of past activity. Of course, skeptics might suggest subtle structural imbalance, worn resistance joints, or even gravity combined with a slight incline causing delayed motion. But the fact that it continues to move, without visible contact, is what makes the clip so unsettling. For now, what moved that machine remains a mystery. The following video was captured by a Ring camera inside a woman's garage. One weekend after cleaning the house, she and her daughter were about to head out. As they were leaving, she received a notification on her phone, motion detected in the garage. What the camera caught was absolutely shocking. Watch closely. If you focus near the shelves, right there, you can see what appears to be a faint, human-like shape moving across the frame. It doesn't look solid, but it's almost translucent, and the movement is subtle but deliberate. According to the woman, she had recently been thinking a lot about her sister, who passed away several years ago. She believes this could be her sister visiting, especially since the garage was a space they both used often when she was alive. From a paranormal perspective, many people believe spirits may appear during emotionally significant periods, especially when someone is grieving, reminiscing, or going through change. Some say these manifestations are brief and non-threatening, more like a quiet, "I'm still here," especially if they're drawn to someone who is vulnerable. So what do you think? A sister stopping by in the only way she can? Something dangerous, or a trick of light caught at just the right angle? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house. This time, he's inside Fred's old bedroom, the former owner of the house, and he's attempting to communicate with whatever presence people believe still lingers there. Watch.
Fred, if you do not want me here, could you let me know somehow? Is there anything you can tell me about the afterlife? Whoa, dude. Oh my god, dude. Okay, I heard a voice there and it sounded like a male voice. He just spoke. I heard prayers. Say your prayers? That's all I think what it sounded like. I asked about the afterlife. He said, say your prayers. Oh my goodness, dude. That's actually kind of wild. That's a wild response. I'm gonna listen to that again. Dude, he said something at the end too. What the heck was that? He said, say your prayers, and then something at the end there. Oh, dude, that's really interesting. Because that's like literally what I asked about. I was asked about what the afterlife is. Is he telling us to say our prayers? Telling me to say my prayers? Is that a threat? Oh my gosh, dude.
At first, Ian struggles to make sense of what he just heard, but then this happens.
Dude, are you talking? Are you talking out there? Is someone here? Hello? What is that? Is that like a TV? Is there like a TV on up here? I'm hearing like talking. Oh dude, I'm terrified. I am actually like really freaked out. It's like a sermon. I hear like a sermon. Oh God. Oh God. No. No way. Dude. Okay. I feel like I'm in a freaking horror film right now. How could that happen? That day, I haven't heard that all night. Dude, he is literally listening to a sermon right now.
I love to watch what he does with his kids.
A radio inside the room suddenly turns on by itself. Not only that, it begins playing a religious sermon. Ian says there was no timer set, no visible interaction, and no reason for the device to activate on its own. For him, the timing felt intentional. He believes Fred's spirit may have been present, peacefully listening to something familiar, perhaps something he often tuned into while alive. From a paranormal viewpoint, electrical manipulation is one of the most commonly reported signs during investigations. Radios, TVS, and lights are often said to be easier for spirits to influence because they already run on energy. If that's the case, the sermon playing at that exact moment could be seen as meaningful, especially if Fred was known to be religious. So, was it a coincidence? A mechanical malfunction at the perfect dramatic moment? Or something intelligent responding in the only way it could? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now.